Hey, everybody. Keith, Glade, and I got talking, and we lost track of time, so we're coming in a few seconds late. Hope that's what's up, Grayson. Thanks for joining. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. We have the distinct pleasure of having Keith from Half Tracks and Honeybees in the house today. Welcome, Keith.
Yeah, thanks, Jed, for having me.
It's going to be a party here. Like when you get together with Glade Sessions and Keith Spillman, it's going to it's nothing but a party. So let's talk. Let me kind of set the stage here a little bit. We were just talking about Apis Tactical products. So we're going to do a giveaway at the end of the live stream today. We'll give away these. They're larges. They're the long Apis Tactical gloves. These are the exact ones that I use. I like them. I know, Glade, you got a pair of these. How do you like yours?
I love mine. In fact, I've about worn mine out. The pair out I've got. It's time to get another pair. And that's nothing against Apis Tactical. They're great gloves. I really like them. But when you use them, they're going to wear out. And you have to accept that.
Yeah, these are good products. They put out good stuff. Have you used them, Keith?
No, I've used a lot of Guardian equipment, but I'm open to try some of the Apis Tactical. The Guardian gloves I really like, but I'm having trouble with ripping the seams out of them for whatever reason, and so I'm open to try something else. I love my Guardians though; they fit so good. But yeah,
I think that's interesting because I've had a pair of Guardian gloves and my hands are a little bit smaller. And sometimes it's hard to find a pair of gloves that fit, and one manufacturer fits you best and the other one doesn't quite do it, but it fits somebody else really well. So
yeah.
Well, we're gonna give this. Apis Tactical has been super nice to send a bunch of stuff our way, and so we're gonna give this away at the end. So hang on to the end, and we'll do that. We got a bunch of folks joining. Good to see some comments from. We got Collector Rick in the house. Highland Honey, Mike is always great to join, and let's see who else. I'm missing some people. Well, we got a few people in the house. Keith, I think you're an open book. I think everybody knows you. I think everybody loves you. But just in case anybody's listening to this and they don't know your background, why don't you tell us? Go any direction you want, but where you're from. Tell us about your apiary, how you got into bees, like whatever you got.
Okay. Well, like I said, thanks for having me on. Yeah, most of the folks that have popped in here, they've heard my stories before, but we'll run through it again. Yeah, I'm Keith Spillman. My YouTube channel, Half Tracks and Honeybees. I'm an old facility maintenance guy. I've been in industrial maintenance for I guess about 40 years. Maintenance management, facility management, and both me and my wife are retired now. But I still like using my hands and playing outside and doing all the stuff that I've done the past 40 years. So beekeeping kind of fit the bill really nice for a retirement gig. I've had bees for probably 12, 15 years maybe. But those first few years I was terrible. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. A friend gave me some bees. And of course they died. Mites were still, they had started by that time, but I didn't know what a mite was. I didn't do any reading. I didn't do any research. I just had bees. So I would get a little bit of honey and then they would die in the winter. I'd buy another nuke and they'd do okay. And then they die again. So I did that for several years. And then I kind of backed away from it for a few years. But as I got closer to retirement, I started messing with it more, actually taking it more serious, doing some research, reading a few books, started to watch some YouTubers, and finally got that first hive through the winter, and then, once you do that, it's like, oh, I'm a beekeeper now. But, and it is a big step. I tell my newbies that I work with, first thing we got to worry about is getting your hives through the winter, then we'll go from there. But, got the one hive through the winter. Then y'all know what happens after that. It was 2, 4, 9, 17, 22. I think I came through winter last year with 23 or 4, something like that. I hit about 37 this year, and I sold off some of those. That was too much work. And I've combined a few, and I think I'm at 27 or 28 right now, which is about where I want to be at. As far as location, I'm in North Carolina. If you know anything about North Carolina, I'm about 20 miles west of Winston-Salem, kind of in the eastern foothills. Where we're at, it's about in about an hour I can be on top of the Blue Ridge Mountains. In probably 3.5 hours, I could have my feet in the Atlantic Ocean. So a county down from Virginia, so not too far from Virginia. But been here all my life. Don't know any better. But we love it. We love it. We've got an old family farm is where we built our house at. If y'all have watched my videos, you've kind of seen around the property, seen the creek. Me and the dogs playing in the woods. So we got a little over 40 acres here. That's our playground. So
what are your dogs' names again, Keith?
Yeah, the bloodhound is Blue, and the beagle is Samson.
Samson, that's right.
Yeah,
great.
So Samson and Blue.
So
I guess that's the two best noses in the dog world. So we have fun.
The two best noses in the beekeeping business. So that's cool that you learned how to beekeep, just trial and error on your own. My go-to when I learned how to beekeep was, and I'd love to hear anybody that's listening throw it in chat how you learned, but I didn't have a mentor the first year or two, and I just I learned from YouTube, specifically like Cayman Reynolds, Bruce's Bees, some of these guys like that everybody's aware of. Like I watched hundreds of hours of beekeeping videos. What'd you do, Glade? You read books.
I went the book route at first, and then started picking up on some of the YouTube channels and realized pretty quick that, man, this is a very unique industry, and location matters. And you know, I think the saying is all beekeeping is local.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of where I struggled a bit. I didn't have anybody local to teach me, and so I went to the books and just taught myself the basics, and then I've done okay since then.
Yeah, you've done great. Both of you guys. Like I've just got my small operation here, Backyard Beekeeper, but Keith, to some degree I can relate, not at your scale, but I don't know if you're not doing it full time. I don't know how these guys have so many hives. I say guys and gals have so many hives. How do you keep up?
Yeah, the folks like Bruce Jean. I don't know how he does what he does.
Yeah, I don't either.
That number
and work full time.
Yeah. You know, I'm retired now, and like I said, when I got up to 35, 37 hives, that was way more than I wanted to do as a retiree. You know, sometimes of the year, you know, there's not a whole lot to do, but yeah, back during coming out of spring into the heat of summer, or the early part of summer, and you're pulling supers and you're doing stuff in the heat of the day, and man, it's tough. But I mean, there's obviously some reward there, but still, those, like you say, those guys that still work full time and have 100, 200 hives, that's just amazing. Hats off to them.
Yeah, this time of year, you're probably getting pretty heavily burnt out. Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that either. That's one of the things, you know, I say it at the end of a lot of chats, and you know, to keep beekeeping fun. To me, that's a big part of it. If you know, if I'm not having fun in the bee yard, that's not a good thing. So yeah, we need to. Obviously, the commercial guys, you know, you got a couple of thousand hives, they're probably not having a lot of fun every day. But I want to keep having fun.
When you Keith, you said you went through those first couple of years, whatever, and the hives didn't make it through the winter. What was the switch that happened that got you to figure out how to keep them?
Yeah, I guess it was a matter of actually having enough sense to go in, and I probably still wasn't very aware of mites at that point, but I was aware of feeding the bees. So you know, going into the winter, making sure that you know, I bought a hive top feeder and mixed up some syrup and somehow I finally got got that hive through the winter. You know, I'm kind of like you as far as watching some of the YouTubers. I'm not a big reader because when I read a book, I'll usually fall asleep. But I guess Beekeeping for Dummies was my first great find.
It's actually a pretty good book.
Yeah,
it is.
For a beginner. That's actually
Yeah.
a pretty good book. It's actually the one I kind of point people to.
Yeah, I recommend that one a lot because it's such an easy read. It's got some funny parts in it. It's got some good information. You can learn the basics, what to call things, what's going on in the hive. This general information. I mean, it's not going to teach you how to do artificial insemination, but but it teaches you the basics and how, so you can talk bees, you can talk to other people, and what they're saying makes sense to you.
Right.
So, I think the basics in beekeeping is way underrated.
I agree.
Maybe the most underrated thing about beekeeping is that you can go a long way, have a really successful operation, and just know the very, very basics.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the downsides of YouTube. There's so many really good beekeepers on YouTube that are the more advanced beekeepers.
Yeah, way
and then the newbies watch this stuff and think they need to do everything that this guy with 200 hives is doing, that's been doing it for 30 years, and they just can't keep up. It's just too much information. It's they don't, you know, I mentor several people, and I have to be careful. You know, they'll watch something on YouTube and text me and say they want to do XYZ. I'm like, where did you hear that from?
Yeah.
It's like, we need to get your bees through the winter before we worry about doing that. You know, let's one step at a time.
So I've been keeping bees. I don't know how long it's been, 8 or 9 years. And I'm to the point now where I'll try like one new thing, like one bigger new thing every year. Like I did a couple years ago, I did the Damari method and it opened my eyes. This year, my new thing was I tried mason jars honeycomb.
Yeah.
What an epic failure.
I did that last year.
Did it work?
I got a few jars, but it's not really comb honey. Mine looked like some kind of Frankenstein experiment with kind of stringy looking little comb in them. And they were very odd. You know, it was interesting. You know, I didn't have any luck when I just put some wax in the jar and flipped them over and put them in there. I had to put some strips, you know, hold the strip in there and drip some wax in to kind of glue it to the bottom of the jar before you flipped it over. You know, once they had a little strip in there, they actually pulled some wax. But yeah, I didn't do it again this year. It was, you know, because that was all I had on that hive. I put it on a strong hive, and they worked and just didn't accomplish much of anything.
So, yeah, I don't know if I'll do it. I'll probably do it again, but not next year. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Glade? Any new experiments you tried this year or recently? I can think of a couple you did.
What'd they do?
Well, you got that you got that machine to pick up your boxes, and then you used
that hive lifter.
I don't know if it was really new, but you used the escape boards. Was it escape boards?
Yeah, escape boards.
I don't know if you had done that before, but
I'd tried it before, but it was me being the lifter, and I didn't like that because I had 4 honey supers on a hive, and I'd have to lift all 4 off, but the escape board on, lift all 4 back on, and that was just way too much work. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
I think
this year with the hive lifter, it was slick. Just in there, about 3 boxes is the way I've got my hive stands. You can kind of see how my hive stands are. The way I've got my hive stands, like this hive right behind me's got 1 super on it. About 3 supers is just about perfect. I could go in there, pick up the 3, slide in the escape board, drop the 3 back down, and it took me but 2 minutes to put an escape board on, and then pulling honey was slick. I just walked up, grabbed the hive lifter, pulled all 3 boxes, and took them away. I didn't have to do a thing. I'm like, this is the way to do this. So escape boards are on the purchase order list for next year.
Yeah, they're on mine. They're on mine too. What do you use, Keith? To get
Yeah,
the-
I started using escape boards last year, and I really like them. It's more work up front. Now, I don't have a hive lifter, so I do it the old-fashioned way. It's more work before you harvest, but the day you do
Right.
harvest, it's a whole lot quicker, and especially as you get more into robin season, it creates a whole lot less disturbance in the bee yard than if I take and use fume boards and start blowing bees.
Yeah.
You start blowing bees around and you got some robin tendencies going on. You can have a mess really quick. So yeah, I like fume boards.
fume board seems more scalable because, like, if you got 30 hives, you can move along. Escape boards, like, how do you do that? You can't have. How are you going to do that with your operation? You're not going to buy 40 escape boards, are you?
Yep.
You
Yeah.
are really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I had. Now I don't. I said I like fume boards. I do like fume boards, but I like escape boards better. Yeah, I bought enough escape boards to do all my production hives. Now, like I said, I got up to 37 hives last year, but I only had 17 what I would call production hives. The hives that were really stacked up, making lots of honey. That I had worked really hard to keep from swarming. So I had really, really big colonies in them. So with 17, 17 is escape boards. That's not that bad. Yeah, if you had to buy 50 or 100 escape boards, that would that could run into some money.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess they're going to last forever, so it's probably just an investment.
It's a buy once.
Yeah, they're not really a wear item.
Yeah. It looks Glade. It looks like Roy's has the same line of thinking: escape boards and hive lifters.
Yep.
Smart guy.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I even, I'm feeding bees right now. I put a gallon of syrup on all my hives, and went out last night and used the hive lifter. And I run mediums, and I leave 3 mediums for winter. And I've usually I usually have an internal frame feeder, and I usually put it in that middle box. I wouldn't mind it in the bottom box, but that just means I have to lift off 2 boxes if I'm going to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like that. So I put it in the middle box.
Yeah.
And I just went out there, grabbed the hive lifter, cracked the top box, lifted it up, poured it a gallon of syrup, dropped the box back down. I didn't even smoke them. And that's, this time of year, our bees there's not much for them to forage on out here. And so they tend to be a little bit grumpy, but I was in and out so fast, they hardly knew I was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I'm
liking the hive lifter. It's going to be a back saver.
Yeah, I could see that. The only thing I kind of like about touching my supers, pulling them by hand, the folks that follow my channel, they know I pull honey several times.
Yeah.
I pulled 6 times this year. The last time wasn't really that big a deal, so we'll say 5. But I put my supers on in March, and my first pull was, I believe, April the 21st.
You just had a hive or 2 that were cranking, and so you just went and did it?
Well, I went ahead and put supers on all of what I had deemed my production hives at that time. Around here, I don't see a downside to a super in early. You don't really have to worry about hive beetles or anything at that point in time. We have a real early maple flow around here, apparently. because I'm making some honey before the tulip poplars is my big honey maker in this area, but I'm making some honey before the tulip poplars bloom. That's on over in closer to April, May time frame. But when I pull my supers off by hand, figuring out where I'm going to put my escape board, that lets me kind of judge, how full the supers are. Because I'll pull supers a lot of times. They won't all be slap full. I think that's one of my things that I do that allows me to make a lot of honey. I never let my supers get full. The ladies always have room to put more. So, and I've got a limited number of supers. So it's not like I can pull 3 off a hive and have 2 ready to go back on. If I've got 3 on there, then that's probably about all I've got. So I'll pull a couple before they get full, so I can always leave 1 on there, because I don't like to pull the supers and not leave all those bees anywhere to go. If I've got 3 on there, I'll never pull 3 at the same time. I'll leave at least 1 on there. But it's worked well for me. But it is more work. You're lifting and moving a lot of boxes by hand. So, but a hive lifter on, where my hives are, I'm right at the edge of the woods and on some uneven ground. It might work for part of them, but part of them, it wouldn't work at all. Unless I worked from the front of the hive, which, that's got some problems too.
Yeah.
Hey, do either of you guys have experience with Highland Honey's question there? What about, they say that, what about those bee escapes that fit inside the center inner cover hole?
I know that's what the oval hole is for in the inner cover, but I've never used it. I've never seen anybody use it. I
don't see why it wouldn't work. Maybe they don't. I don't know. You don't have that hole in the middle there that they're. I don't know. I've seen them, but I don't use inner covers, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
So
for us not to have seen anybody use them, that kind of says something.
Yeah, probably.
we're all too dumb.
Yeah.
Find a YouTuber that's doing it.
Somebody's
let us know. Somebody's got to be doing it, or they wouldn't be selling them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those. Hey, if we make it, they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Us beekeepers like to buy whatever little gadget comes along.
Yes.
And most of them are not necessary.
The interesting thing about like beekeeping gadgets, beekeeping equipment, like cool innovations come around, but in the little research that I've done on the history of beekeeping, most of the stuff has just stayed the same through the test of time, like the protection equipment.
Oh yeah.
Smoke, like smoke works.
And that's another thing, where people go crazy. They some of the newbies that I'm helping, they'll go on Amazon and you can search out a beekeeping starter kit, and it'll be like these, gosh, I don't know, 40-piece sets of stuff that you'll never use, and what is there's not much count. They're like, I found this. Is this what I need to get? It's like, no,
don't buy it.
I mean, you need good protection. You need some gloves, a suit, a couple of hive tools, maybe a brush and a smoker. And that's really a little queen clip maybe, but you don't need all them gadgets starting off. I mean, most of the time, if I'm going to the bee yard, I grab a smoker and a hive tool.
I will say this, like, to get started, I think you're exactly right. And to be successful, you're exactly right. But just for a hobby, like for fun, like,
buy the kit.
Yeah. Get whatever, get the hive lifter, get the things, get all the stuff. And if you can afford it and you just want to try stuff, go for it.
Yeah.
You got me thinking, Keith, and I'd love to hear this from you too, Glade. Like, so you're pulling honey a lot. Like, what are you doing with the honey? Do you have a distribution network set up? You have people come to your house and buy it? You store it away? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I've really got, I guess, 3 different things that I do. Early on, I guess 4 years ago, was actually my first, what I'd say, a good honey crop. I made about 50 gallons. And, but I sold every bit of that just through Facebook. I put out notes on Facebook to my friends. I've got honey. I'll meet you over here at the park, blah, blah, blah. And and pretty much sold it all, that way. Then the next year after that, it about doubled. Well, it over doubled, and Facebook couldn't sell all that for me. So that's when I started going to farmers markets. We have one here in the little town I live in is called Yadkinville. We're in the outskirts in a little area called Shacktown, but Yadkinville has a market twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then I would go one county south of here to Moxville and do a market down there. So I've got 3 markets a week available to me to sell retail, other than Facebook. Another outlet I've got is selling buckets of honey to mead makers. So obviously you don't make as much money off a bucket of honey as you do sitting at a farmer's market selling by the pint and quart and honey bears and squirt bottles and all that good stuff. But yeah, you're not sitting at a farmer's market doing it. You're not bottling it. You're not labeling it. You strain it, stick it in a bucket, knock a top on it, and sell it. So I also had customers kind of an in-between area. Some people use a lot of honey. Some of my folks, my customers, they've gone away from sugar and use honey for everything. And the ones that were using, buying 4, 5, 6 quarts at a time, I gave them the option to start buying partial buckets, a gallon, 2 gallons, 3 gallons. And I think that's a little market niche that I kind of opened up that I'll probably explore more next year. Get some smaller buckets, because a 5-gallon bucket too is a heavy little beast. You can't sell a 5-gallon bucket to a senior citizen. They can't. Yeah. They can't do anything with it. But you can sell them a 1-gallon bucket or maybe a 2-gallon bucket and give them a better price. It's you can save them money off the by the quart price and still make more money than you do selling it to the mead makers who want the cheapest price that you can give them, of course. Yeah. So that's kind of an in-between step.
I'm chuckling at some of these comments because just a quick thought on this. My first several years, I just gave away honey. Mm-hmm. And I love giving away. Gave it away for the Christmas gifts. Gave away so much honey. And it's so fun to give away. But I'm a hypocrite. And here's why. Because I would give away honey freely. People would come visit. I felt so good giving it away. But if somebody came and asked me for honey, in my head, I would say, how dare you?
Taking advantage of me.
How much work went into getting this honey? If you knew how much work went in, you would never ask. But yet I'm giving it away. I'm a total hypocrite. But have you had that thought before? Maybe it's just me because I'm a jerk. But if I don't know that beekeepers would ever ask another beekeeper for honey because they know how much work it is, unless you're trading.
Honey. Yeah. We'll
trade pretty readily, but
it's a lot of work. I love giving it away, but when people would ask, I'd be like, you have no idea. Like, you want to trade a tomato for a jar of honey? No.
Now I do that at the farmers market. If somebody has some produce, they're interested in some honey, or the folks that sell beef, pork, and lamb, we do some trading at the farmers market. That's pretty cool.
But you're kind of setting price there. You already know what their price is for their product.
Yeah,
you know what your price is, and you're kind of okay. This is about 6s here. We'll swap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can get money for money there.
Yeah, you kind of have to go by, if whatever price you've got marked and whatever price they've got marked, and just swap it that way. But something I ran into this year that is kind of funny and aggravating at the same time. Several of the people that I was helping this year, they made a lot more honey than they had planned on. Now, none of them really sell their honey; they just give it all away. So I'd have people come by the market, and they'd come by and we'd be chatting. It's like, you need some honey? It's like, oh no, old Ronnie over here, he gave me a quart. I don't need any honey. Well, Ronnie's the guy that I'm helping. So I was like, Ronnie, you got to quit giving all your honey away. You're messing up my customers.
Well, I had somebody the other day that's kind of in the area that's he's got a few hives. Just I think he's up to 6 or something. And so he had a good year. He had a little extra honey, and he was selling it. And I'm like, I saw what he was selling it for. I'm like, oh, dude, you got to at least double that price. You're giving it away. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you know how much work that was to make that honey.
Yeah.
And you're giving it away at that price.
I went to the farmer's market just this last week, and it was a middleman selling it. You could tell it just was. They were getting their honey from all over, but they were selling quarts, depending on what it was, for $35 to $45.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't buy any.
I'll sell you honey cheaper than that.
Yeah. I'm like, but it was $35 to $45. They must sell it or they wouldn't do it. The other cool thing about this is they were obviously getting it from around the country, and they had some of the honey labeled like toasted marshmallow, and they had these different flavors, and I tasted it, and it tasted like toasted marshmallow, and he said it was, and he would tell us where it was from. He was like, there's this plant in somewhere in Alabama or in California or whatever that gives it this flavor. And it was pretty cool. Like the regional honey, the taste of the regional honey was pretty cool. Not $35, $45 cool, but cool to try.
Yeah. Honey prices, that, like you said, honey, beekeeping is very local. Well, honey prices are very local. I'm not that far from, you get into some bigger cities like Winston, Charlotte, Raleigh, honey is a lot more expensive in those areas than it is out in the country. So folks at the markets in those areas, they're asking some of the those numbers that you were talking about, Jed. But if I had my honey at $35, $40 a quart, I wouldn't sell it, out here at these little markets. A lot of our customers are senior citizens, and they don't have that kind of expendable income. The state actually does have a very cool program where they give out vouchers to senior citizens through the local senior centers. And it's a book of 10 vouchers worth $5 each that they can use at farmers markets to buy fruits and vegetables. And they added honey last year. So that's a really good program for the senior citizens, as well as the folks selling stuff at the market. But, to a lot of these folks, honey is a luxury item. And they're using these vouchers, to buy honey, and without the vouchers, that they would be buying the fruits and the vegetables and the other stuff. So,
they do something very similar here. Lower income families can get at the farmers markets. They can get, they give them a little wooden token, about $1, value of about $1, and then the vendors at the farmers market just take them like straight money, and then at the end of the farmers market, we all go back to the admins for the farmers market and turn all our little wooden coins back in, and they turn around and give us straight cash for it.
Okay,
and they've got the same thing, very similar for senior citizens to do the same thing. So they kind of have two programs going out here. And that's really been my main avenue for selling my honey is farmers market. I do have a couple of stores that around here that buy a little bit of my honey.
I'm in one store, I guess you would say. It's a coffee and a bookstore, not too far from home. They've got my honey there, but that's the only store I'm in. So but the majority of it just goes through the markets. I think the local market here, it ended the end of August because a lot of the produce goes away at that point in time. But I counted up, and the market started in I guess the first week in May, and I did about 50 markets this year. So
wow,
that's a lot of hours setting in the market.
That is a lot of time.
This is your retirement, Keith. Like you're living at farmers markets.
Well, the thing about sitting at a farmer's market is kind of forced rest. I can't really work. I just have to kind of sit there. The tough part about farmers markets is being nice for 3 hours.
Having to talk to somebody for 3
Yeah,
hours.
you know, give my same little smiley honey's the greatest thing ever speech over and over and over and over. But
we're beekeepers because we're introverts, and we go out and spend time with our bees because
yeah,
nobody bothers us when we're in the mees. Everybody leaves us alone. They can see us out there, but they're not coming up to talk.
no friends in the bee yard.
I was, when we were walking around the farmer's market, I was commenting to my wife that I said, I don't know if it would help sell honey, but if you want all the people to come visit you, have a display with an observation hive next to you.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've done that at a farmer's market. You will have everybody at the market come by your booth.
Mhm.
Did it improve your sales?
Oh yes.
Did it really?
Oh
Okay.
yes.
So
Yes.
what did you do? Like, tell us about your setup.
I just had an observation hive. I have one, and set that up. And if you get a good weekend where you've got a good crowd coming through the farmer's market, it probably 50% more in sales.
You didn't like transition your frames over to this observation hive. You had it already set up in there.
Well, I moved I usually have some nukes out here in the back, and a nuke's about perfect for an observation hive, right?
Yeah.
And mine's one of the man lake ones. It has like 5 frames in the bottom, and then you pull one up into the top where it's the queen, and it's great. Works great for an observation hive. But I just set it out, and if you can get people to stop at your booth for 2 minutes, it wasn't very long before they were buying honey.
Yeah. I've got a little observation hive that I use when I talk to kids. Kids love to see the bees. But yeah, that would be interesting to throw it out on the table and let folks see it. I'm sure
Definitely
it would
will
draw
get
some
people
interest.
stopping.
Yeah.
Keith, I got it. Here's what your setup needs to be. Bring your half track out there. So you have your vehicle there, have the observation hive. Sales will double. Everybody will be lining up. Give them a ride.
Phew. That'd be a lot to keep up with, selling honey and looking after the half track and have the bees there.
I have to have my wife with me if I take my observation hive, because I can't. People want to ask questions, and I can't tend to customers at the same time.
Right.
That
Right.
makes sense.
Yes, enough trouble if you have some honey there available for samples, which I always have samples there, and if I can get them to sample the honey, I'm in the high 90s. As far as if they're going to buy something, if I can get them to sample a bit. And early in the year, my early honey is a little bit lighter than once the tulip poplar blooms, so I'll have 2 different colors of honey for sale. I'll have samples of both of them. So then that takes even more time.
Yep.
Try
they want to sample both.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do, Keith? Do you just get a toothpick and give them the toothpick for the sample?
No, I've got the little jar with the little spoons, and you have to go through the whole little ritual. Then they get honey all over the place, and that's just part of it.
Do you do any creamed honey?
No, I haven't got into that yet. I'm just a liquid honey and a little bit of comb honey, which I didn't make this year because I went to harvest it and the bees had ate all the honey out of it, so I didn't have any. So, but yeah, mostly just liquid honey. I haven't crossed that threshold yet. How about you? Do you do cream?
I've been doing creamed. In fact, I just started a batch. Just got it in the bottles and now let it set for a couple of weeks. But creamed honey's not well recognized out here, and so I have to, if I put creamed honey out on my farmer's market table, they all kind of look at it like, "What is that? What'd you do to it?" I'm like, "It's just honey. There's nothing. It's just honey." And they don't know what to think about it. But give them a sample, I bet I'm 95% of the time they're going to buy a bottle.
Yeah.
I remember, like you talked about this a little bit, Glade. So I apologize for the redundancy here, but maybe it'll help somebody else. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos after you kind of talked about creamed honey, about how to do it, and there are I don't know, probably a dozen different ways to do creamed honey.
Yeah, there
I'm
are.
going to do it this winter because I'm just curious. Tell us your method to do it.
My method is pretty much just get yourself some creamed honey that you like, whether that's your own from a prior year or whether that's somebody else's honey. And if you'll just take your liquid honey, make sure you don't have any, you want to make sure it's liquid, that it's not already started to crystallize. That's an important part there. You need to make sure it's 100% liquid, because if it's started to crystallize, it's going to crystallize at the same size of crystals that it would naturally crystallize at, which typically is grainy and gritty. So make sure there's no crystallization in it. And then I find it helps if you can kind of warm the honey up to about 80 degrees, a little higher than room temperature. Just helps with the mixing. And then mix in 1 part creamed honey to like 9 or 10 parts liquid honey.
And just mix it till it's
Mix it in really good. And the automatic machines that you can buy, they're going to mix it every hour, or, like every 15 minutes for every hour, which I think produces a really nice, consistent product. I don't have one, so I use a drill and it's a stainless steel mixer, so it's made for food, but looks like a paint mixer. And I just keep mixing it. Every time I kind of walk by, every couple of hours, I'll stop and run that mixer through the honey, and I'll do that for about 3 or 4 days. So it takes a while to kind of get it really going and get it started to crystallize at the right rate and everything. And then after about 3 or 4 days, I'll bottle it all up and let it sit for 2 to 3 weeks. And in about 3 weeks, that honey's just about perfect. Still soft enough that you can put a knife in it, but it's set. And some people will use like a stand mixer and then put the liquid honey in the stand mixer and use their wire whisks. But to me, that's whipped honey, not creamed honey. Creamed honey doesn't have any air in it. And when you mix it in a stand mixer like that, you're incorporating air into it. And it's good. And you should try it. By all means, try it. But to me, that's not creamed honey. That's whipped honey.
Well, you're making my mouth water just talking about it.
And a good batch of scones to go, homemade scones to go with that. That's perfect.
Keith, I got to ask you this before, like I just peeked at time and we're coming up. We probably got a couple of more topics we can talk about, but what's your motivation to do YouTube? How long you been doing it? And how do you just tell us about the YouTube experience?
I guess, gosh, how long have I been doing it? A couple, 3 years. My first videos were with the half track. When I got the half track to the point where I could drive around in it. And I started doing some videos riding around and doing drive-bys and stuff like that. I wish I had taken more videos while I was restoring it. I took a ton of photos, but I didn't do any videos. But yeah, then that gets kind of morphed into the more I watched YouTube, and then I was set up a camera, and obviously YouTube is free, to put videos on. So I started getting into some of the to the videos. Motivation, certainly not money.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. We're all going to retire with a garage full of Ferraris. I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy the hamming it up, I guess, doing some of this stuff. I like the feedback that I get from folks, the comments that you get most of the time. You've always got the clinker here and there, but it's 99% positive. But Yeah, it's just I just enjoy doing it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it because, like I said, it's not for the money. So you've got to like it. How about you guys? What do you do it for?
Well, I before I comment, I tell anybody, Keith really does put out great content, half tracks and honeybees, and just a good dude talking about bees and doing his hobby. And so go subscribe if you haven't. I personally had one motivation, and that was to get involved in the beekeeping community. I felt actually quite selfish watching probably over time thousands of hours of YouTube videos of all these people that I now know. But I felt like I know them, but I had never met them. But now I know them, and I just wanted to get involved in the beekeeping community.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, but I put out those first couple videos, and people started commenting and liking and subscribing. And I thought, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's happening, and it's kind of been, it's fun. It's work.
Yeah.
Like it's work, but I'm like you, I enjoy it. What about you, Glade?
Wow, I don't know whether I don't mind doing it. Naturally, I'm an introvert, so putting myself in front of a camera is a stretch for me, and I've had to force myself just to do it. I've had several people in the area say, you should be doing a YouTube video. I'm like, I don't think so. You should be doing it. Well, maybe. And finally I decided, you know what, why not? And so I just started doing it, and I do kind of like doing it. It forces me out of my comfort zone. And I just thought, you know what, there's not a lot of people out here in the West, especially in our area, that are doing YouTube videos on bees. You get a couple in California, but most of them are out your direction, Keith, east of the Mississippi, at least.
Yep.
And there's probably way more beekeepers east of the Mississippi than there are west of the Mississippi, but there just wasn't hardly anybody out here doing it. And because our weather is so different, our climate's so different, I thought, you know what, this might be something a little different for people to look at. So I just started doing it, and hopefully I'm getting a little better at it.
Well, I'll tell you this, Glade. So people don't know this because Glade is introvert and kind of doesn't brag, but Glade is one of the best beekeepers in the state of Utah, and puts out great content. And if you'll take the time to listen to him, you'll learn a lot, because I know I have, because he just knows what he's doing. And so it's like, without YouTube, I wouldn't know Glade. And I grew up in the same town where Glade lives.
Yeah.
And or you, Keith, and I love this comment by DC. I can relate to this. It lets me hang out with you all and your bees. I don't have anyone to do bees with, so I do bees with you all. Like I love that.
And I agree with that. That is so true. I mean, I have, because of YouTube, I now have friends all over the place. People that actually recognize me, and I was shocked. I showed up at Nobby 2 years ago, walked in the front doors there at the expo center, and was out there in the foyer and just kind of standing around and looking. I turned around, and here comes somebody walking straight toward me, and like, I know you, and I'm coming to say hello. And it took me a second, but it was actually Sawmill Charlie.
That's funny. The legend.
And he walked right up to me and said hello. He knew who I was. I was shocked. And from then I've just, Bruce and Brian and Jed and Keith, I mean, all of these guys are, we may not see each other. I mean, I don't know, Keith, I don't think we've ever met in person, right? Unless we bumped into each other at Nobby.
Maybe.
But Joseph Rawls and just Sawmill Charlie and all those guys. I've come to appreciate them as a person and their uniqueness, and just it's been real fun. It's been very enjoyable to do this.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Being part of this community, these the nightly chats that you can find almost
any night of the week.
A lot of the same characters hanging around. Because get back to that no life beekeeper thing. I guess we don't have anything better to do.
I always want to find out. I always guess what type of chip Sawmill Charlie's going to be that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, there's Lee from Kodiak Farms, and there's Brian from Flower Street Farms, and just Russell Koopman's commented on several things. And have I ever met Russell? No, but I feel like I know him a little bit, at least.
Yeah.
If we were to meet each other, I think we'd be instant friends.
Well, that's why that makes me think, where's that comment? Let me see if I can pin it. Right here, this comment. So Jen and Brian, I love the community, but sometimes feel bad I don't contribute to content. But here's the deal. You might not have a YouTube channel, but you are contributing.
Oh yeah.
You're in there, you're commenting, you're engaging, you're certainly watching, but you're also engaging. And so we feel like we know you. And it's been a blessing to me. It's work and it's a blessing. Well, Keith, as we come up on time here, I'm going to ask you one last question. We'll see if there's anything there. But regarding your apiary, do you have any unique methods that you do or approaches that set your apiary apart that you feel comfortable sharing?
I guess the only thing I do that I don't know that I call it unusual, but I haven't bought any queens or bees for many years. I do all walk-away splits. So, I don't raise queens. I haven't attempted that yet. I just do walk-away splits. And
don't start raising queens; you'll get hooked.
That's what I'm afraid of. But that's worked well for me. People ask, what kind of bees I have, and I just call them Shacktown mutts. I don't know what they are. There's light ones and dark ones. I'm sure there's a lot of Italians there, but yeah, I've done walkaway splits for at least the past 3 years, maybe 4. But I run a high percentage. I like that, Brian. Not quite 3 million, but yeah, the walkaway splits works great for me. I run in the high 90 percentages on a success rate, and I've grown more hives than I really wanted the past few years. Between doing a few splits and catching a few swarms, that's not been a problem. I call it so many swarms this year. I finally just took my boxes down because I was tired of messing with it, and I was out of wood and I didn't want to buy anymore. But y'all know how that works. So,
no, we don't. I'll be honest. I've been keeping bees for 10, 11 years now. I've seen 2 swarms.
Wow. Okay.
And one was in my own yard, and it was about the size of a grapefruit.
Okay. Now, speaking of swarms, you talked about something that I do different. I work really hard to keep my hives from swarming. A few years ago, DC, he watches some of my videos. He watched a lot of them. Man, I was having like a swarm every day. It was like the swarm du jour. My hives, and I caught most of them, which is a good thing. But still, you can make more honey if you can keep, one big hive will make more honey than 2 smaller hives.
Yep.
So I really work hard to keep my hives from swarming. Putting the supers on really early helps that. I go in my hives very often in early spring, maybe a couple of times a week. And I separate brood a lot. Anytime I find, once the flows get going, the temperatures have warmed up, everything's cranking. If I find 2 frames of brood together, I'll pull them apart and drop a empty frame of a drone comb between them. And I just do that over and over again. If a box gets full of brood, I'll add another box. So that really worked well for me this year. I don't know of but maybe two swarms out of my hives that I had, and I probably caught about 10, but maybe a few more. But big hives with lots of bees will make you lots of honey. And I had a good year. So.
Well, that is unique. Thanks for sharing that, Keith. That's very cool. We could spend another hour on that. We won't though, because Glade will get mad at me. Just kidding. Let's should we do the giveaway, Glade?
By all means.
Okay, so folks, if Keith and Glade can help me out, if you want a pair of these Apis tactical gloves or a chance to win them, go ahead and put #gloves. Here, I'll type it in there so you can see the example. #gloves in the chat, and then I'll put your name into the wheel of names. This is a large pair of Apis tactical gloves. My very biased opinion is that they're the best gloves on the market. You want to give them a shot, and then Keith, Glade, if you guys tell me the names, I'll type them in.
Okay, Brian from Flower Street. Jay's Beekeeping.
Jay's. Okay.
Tiny Creek.
Tiny
Creek. Got
it. Mike.
Okay.
Russell Amond.
Got Russell. Got Gigi.
There's two Russells. There's Russell Amond and Russell Koopman.
Oh, I'll put Koopman different. Koopman, Russell's one, and then Koopman I'll put as a different one. We got
Jace.
Jace.
Jace, Jayce.
Okay. Jayce.
Rick and Roy.
Got Collector Rick.
Did you get
Carl?
Greg done?
Didn't get Greg. Let's get Greg. We got Bundy.
Did you get Carl?
Didn't get Carl. Carl with a C, with a K.
Yeah, C.
Dodd House.
Dodd.
DODD House.
Okay. Got it.
Highland Honey.
Highland. Okay. Let's see.
Gigi.
I got Gigi.
Wesley Dickerman.
I got Wesley.
Roy. Did you get Roy?
We got too many people joining. If we had very many, this would take forever. We have to figure out a different method. Okay, I got Roy in there. Okay, I think we're good. So I got Tiny, Russell, Brian, Jay, Mike, Gigi, Russell Koopman, Wesley, Jace, Collector Rick, Greg, Bundy, Carl, Dodd, Highland Honey, Roy. I think that's it, folks. Okay, we got these Apis tactical gloves. Tiny, if you win, we got to figure out how to get your address. We got Bill Lee. Okay,
Bill Lee. Yeah.
Okay. There we got Bill Lee.
Michelle Spillman.
Oh, I know Michelle Spillman. That's what I'm talking about, Michelle. You need yourself a pair of Apis tactical gloves.
Then she can help me up in the bee yard.
Yeah, I got Bill Lee, DC. DC, I didn't get you. I think you want a pair of gloves. You probably don't. You want another one? I'm gonna put DC on there. Watch him win. All right.
Watch DC win this one.
Okay, I'm putting my money on Michelle. Who's your money on, Glade?
DC. It's gonna be DC or Gigi, you know.
Okay. Keith, who's your money on?
I don't know. Let's go. Dodd is good at winning stuff.
Dodd's good at winning stuff. Okay, here we go. I'm not sharing my screen for some reason. It doesn't work, but you'll just have to trust me. Here we go. Spinning away. Just past Russell, Brian, Jake, Mike. Oh, snap. Gigi is the winner of the glove.
Yay.
Gigi fully deserves this. Fully deserves it. Gigi, you know the drill. jedsbeekeeping@gmail.com. Shoot me your address. I'll get you those gloves. Congrats, Gigi. That's super cool. Okay. Next time we'll be on Glade's channel until we can get Bracken off of, taking kids to football duty. Is that fair, Glade?
That's fair.
Keith, it is a pleasure. Any final thoughts from you, Keith?
No, this has been great. Like Glade mentioned, as far as you guys being YouTubers out closer to the West Coast, I mean, I enjoy hearing all the different ways people are doing things. I mean, when Todd's on here, out in California, where apparently it never rains in the summertime, like the song says. But the guys down south, up north Canada, it's so interesting hearing the basics of beekeeping is the same, but the timing is so different. So,
Timing's so different.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But
Well,
thanks for having me on. This has been great.
Yeah, sure appreciate you, Keith and Glade, as usual. Love doing these live streams with you. We'll do it. We'll do it again soon. We'll talk to everybody later.
Thanks for joining.